You know that moment after trying to figure something out for some time, the answer just clicks into place? Over the last little while, I've been polishing up how I wanted to depict the town of Liluan. Its architecture, the mundane scenes, and the day-to-day of a town within Ormoc. In one of my first big illustrations, I borrowed heavily from the artist Moebius and his sci-fi works. I also took inspiration from earlier online Solarpunk discussions of incorporating Art Nouveau and renewable sci-fi tech as the look for my art. These were just guidelines, of course. Artists and authors within the space have depicted stories within the Solarpunk umbrella in all sorts of ways outside of the original suggestions. As I looked for more inspiration, I learned that one of the first official pieces of work produced within the online movement was an anthology of Solarpunk stories which was published in Brazil. Despite the harsher realities of the country, it is apparently a leader in renewable energy production, with 89% of its electricity coming from renewables in 2023. This sparked some ideas in me to explore what Solarpunk could potentially look like when mixed with this kind of setting. It felt familiar. It felt right. I dug deep into what's been inspiring me to create art for Ormoc, and a lot of it has been my relationship with nature as an adult, but especially more so when I was a kid. I grew up a short walk away from the beach. In my neighborhood, there were empty plots of land filled with guinea grass growing taller than us kids. Ancient ruins of unfinished foundations of houses that sat undisturbed for most of my life, overgrown and abandoned. I wanted to show my version of Solarpunk, and it finally clicked with me how I can achieve this, by mixing snapshots of my childhood with thematically designed technology that fit that South Asian culture I'm trying to emulate. That was the main reason why this environmental sketch of Liluan turned into this scene of a couple kids sharing a refreshing drink after school. I really wanted to capture those warm 4 p.m. afternoons, messing around with whatever you could find. A slight breeze in the wind pushing plum clouds through the sky. Having figured out a clear vision of the architecture, I immediately jumped on sketching out another scene idea I had. This time, the port area of Liluan, showcasing a rainy morning in front of a shipwright's small home. This may look familiar to some of you who have seen my update posts and of the pixel art that my friend Yarni is currently working on. This is actually a part of the project we've been working on in our free time, which I want to share with you guys starting today. Project Fish. Project Fish is a love letter to the fishing minigame, a facet embedded in the history of games. Set in Liluan, no fish in this small town are the same. Each species tugs at the line in their own distinct suite of minigames. Master the minigames and seek out the rarest fish using the right bait to complete your Fishopedia while exploring Liluan and meeting its idyllic inhabitants along the way. The idea for this game was actually founded on a frustration with fishing minigames in spite of the nature of the intended final product. In most games, there is one fishing minigame for all fish. It may have variations and some complications for a particular species, but ultimately, they can mostly be mastered in the first few casts. In reality, fish have personalities. Some fish feed near the bottom requiring a sinker, while others hang out at the surface prompting a bobber. Smaller fish need to be scooped out of the water, while larger ones might have to be speared before captured. Aggressive fish may bite at anything shiny, while shyer species may require special coaxing. None of this is captured in a one-size-fits-all minigame, because one size does not, in fact, fit all the fish in the sea, and river, and lake. We're currently working our way to completing a working prototype for the game. Yardney and I are working together in forming the art of the game through my world-building brooded concept art and his expertise in pixel art. In terms of development, I've been slowly chipping away at the core mechanics of the game with a lot of help from my friends Nikita and Noah. They've been a great help in untangling the spaghetti that I'm cooking. Finally, Harmon and Alex have been composing some banger pieces of music, wonderfully complementing the art we've made for the port city of Liluan. You've been listening to it for the last little bit, actually. Project Fish is intended to be our introduction to the art of game making, and so while we have an ambitious idea board of features we want to add to the final product, we're also trying to keep ourselves grounded. The game only needs a smattering of fish to capture, an assortment of minigames, and perhaps a simple narrative to tie things together. As development progresses, we may push ourselves to introduce side narratives, fishing upgrades, and some kind of aquarium, drawing notes from Animal Crossing's museum. These videos, which are now officially devlogs, will detail our progress while continuing to act as a peek into the world of Ormoc. That said, I'd like to finish off this video by sharing a snippet of lore which Harmon wrote for Liluan. A home to few, and yet bustling with activity, Liluan put its name on the map during the Wet Sea Ruin Rush. Although excursions have slowed since, burglars, archaeologists, and aspiring adventurers still make Liluan their last stop before the long voyage to the Lesser Spire. Because of this, shipwrights and gear suppliers run businesses alongside the academic institution for which Liluan was originally founded. The area itself is anomalous for its unusually rainy weather, so much so that it turned a network relay station into a village. This, coupled with a microclimate surrounding the Lesser Spire, is what makes the Wet Sea wet. If you've gotten this far, thank you. Please don't forget to like and subscribe on your way out, and I'll see you next time.
Goodbye.